Thank you for joining me for this Modding Doom 3 editor series. In this episode, we'll explore how to throw items at the player, and we'll add a bit of a twist with some lighting, sound, and Quake effects. Please take a moment to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy programming like this. So if you've ever wondered how video games are made, stick with us as we explore the fascinating world of level design in Doom 3. Okay, so there's a sequence in the Doom 3 game, specifically in the Alpha Labs 3 map, where the player kind of is running around and then all of a sudden items that are lying around the station start flying at the players. Now, it's kind of creepy. It's as if the items are possessed or demons are behind it or something like that. So we're going to replicate that here. And we're just starting off with our simple box map. We did leave our little cabinet in there just from a prior video, just because I kind of like it, and we're going to probably use it later, so I'm going to leave that in there. And other than that, we've just got two white lights here that we can see in the XYZ window. Alright, so first thing we're going to do, one of the items we're going to put here is a wrench, and I don't want to really place it on the floor. And in the original map, it's actually sitting up on a crate, so we're going to just throw in a couple of crates here. I'll show it real quick. And, well, again, you know, what Doom map would be complete without a couple of crates, right? So I'm going to choose my cog texture, and I'm just going to draw out a brush. 48 by 48 seems to be a pretty good size. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's just make sure it's 48 square. There we are. Make sure it's sitting on the floor. And I'm going to clone that. And I'm going to push the other one down here a little bit. Well, maybe right there looks good. Let's grab that first one. Okay, and that second one I think is colliding with the floor, so let's pick that up. Alright, now we want to texture these with some sort of crate texture. Now, you can find those in the media folder in textures, and if we go down to object here, and click that open, there's a bunch of them here, A underscore, SO box 1, etc. I preloaded a couple here that I liked, so I'm just going to select this guy and give him that texture, and this guy and give him that texture. Those are crates. One of them is going to be a crate, the other one's going to be a cardboard box. And we can see that the texture isn't fitting on there, so let's fit that texture. So let's click that, go into our XYZ, hit our surface inspector, and down here in texture, let's just half that texture size. 0.5, there we go, enter. And there we can see in the render window it adjusted it so it looks good. And then let's do that for the second one as well. Hit S, and we'll just go down here. It's already selected. We'll hit enter. There we go. Perfect. Okay, we've got our textures fitting nice. I'm just going to change the direction of these boxes slightly so they look a little bit more organic. We'll just go into our rotate here. And in our Z, we'll go 60 degrees. We'll hit enter and just look in the render window. It changed directions. We'll do the same for that one, just so they look a little bit more organic. Okay, so where are we here? Rotate, X, I don't know, we'll go 15 on that one. There we are. And let's go to top view real quick, and let's just kind of put them a little bit closer together. There we go. Okay, so there's crates. That's a free lesson. Okay, so the items we're going to throw here, we're going to do kind of the items that were in the map. And in order to throw items, they have to be what's called a movable. So if we go into our XYZ window and right click, we just look down here for movable, and it's alphabetical order. There it is, movable. And the first item we're going to look for is wrench. And again, this is all alphabetical order, so I think probably the wrench is going to be the very last one, or near the end anyways. Okay, there it is, movable wrench. So let's click on that, places it on the map. And if we go into our render window, we can see it sitting there. And it's not orientated properly, so let's go up here into our flip the x-axis. There we go, now it's sitting flat. And then let's put it up on that box there real quick. Now the XYZ doesn't quite render it properly. We have to go into our render window, and we want it to kind of be sitting there. Now it's a physics object, so even if we left it floating there, it would just fall once runtime is or once the game starts, but I want to position it, just kind of get it close anyway. Alright, let's just zoom in here and go to a smaller grid, and let's get that sitting there. You don't want it to be inside it, just above it is fine. That should be good. Okay, there it is. Now the other two items we want to find again are movables. So let's go into our top view here real quick. There we are. So let's right click on our XYZ, go back into movable. And next one we want to find is one called a table cart. So let's have a look. Okay, there they are, table cart. I'll go for table cart 1. There it is. Alright, and let's put that in our map. Let's put that on the floor. There we are. We're going to kind of space these up a little bit so they're varying distances from the players, so they kind of come flying at different times. Okay, there's that one. And then finally, let's right click, go to movables again, or movable. And what we want to find here is something called a mop bucket. Okay, there it is here. We're just, again, we're using the items that were in the map just to kind of simulate it. And we'll put that guy back there. Okay, so they're all sitting there nice. They're ready to go. Now, we can just leave them like this, but right now they have no damage assigned to them. So if they hit the player, which by the way, the player can actually dodge them if they're fast, but if they do hit the player, we want this to cause a little bit of damage. Now, how we do that, and I'll show you it real quick and then I'll explain a little bit. So let's select that bucket and just click on the origin, and then you can select it. We can see here. In our entity window, once we have it selected, we can see the bucket. We're going to put in a key value of def_damage and hit tab, and then we're going to put in here damage_light capital B break. Okay, and we're going to hit enter, and just let's make sure that it takes. Now, just a quick explanation how this def damage works. If we go out of here, and remember I showed you how to extract the game files, and I put them here in this Doom 3 packs. And if we look in pack 000, we pop that open, we're going to look for this def file folder. And inside we're going to look for damage. We can actually see the code in here, and it's defined. So if we actually put in def damage_trigger her toxin, it's going to give us a damage of 5 as well as all these other characteristics. And we're just using this light one down here. Let's see here, where is it? Here it is. Def damage_light break. That's just going to give us a damage of 1. So it's not going to really damage the player, but it's going to be a little bit disconcerting when it flies at them, and it's going to give them a little bit of damage. Now you can use any one of these. I mean, if you want to increase that damage here, damage_hardfall, we can put in there, and that would give 30 damage. But we'll go with the light one for now. So anyways, that's that. So let's go back in the map here. Or sorry, into the editor, and we've assigned that def damage. Now we want to put that damage on the other items as well. So let's go ahead and select the little table there, and we can just, we've already typed it, so all we have to do is just click down here and hit enter, and we can see it does get assigned to this item. And then finally, let's grab our wrench. There we are. Let's go down here. Click in that def damage line, hit enter again, and there it is. And as always, like, don't forget that if you look in this entity window here, we expand it a little bit, these items, it gives different key values we can put in there, and you can look through here and you can use any one of these. So just be aware of that. I just happen to know that you know, these key values sort of off by heart, so I don't need to refer up to here, but always be aware that this does tell you what this entity will do. Alright, so now we're going to look at the magical item that actually makes these things fly. Let's just adjust these windows. There we are. Okay, so let's deselect everything, XYZ window. We're going to right click, and we're looking for an item called Funk Phantom Objects, and this is really the magical thing that makes this stuff fly at the player. So here we go, Funk, and we're looking for Phantom something or other. Where are we? Phantom Objects. There we go. Funk_Phantom_Objects. We'll just click on that and we'll put that in the map. And look in the render window. There it is. Let's just bring it up a little bit so it's out of the way. It's not going to render anyways at runtime, but we'll just put it out of the way to make it a bit more handy. Now there's a couple of key values we want to put in this thing once we have it selected here. And again, if you look here, Funk Objects, it tells you all this stuff in here that you can put in here. So what we're going to put in here, first thing is end_time. Hit tab, and then we're going to put 3. And that's basically just telling it how long this effect is going to take. So in 3 seconds, all this is going to happen. So we'll hit enter. And there's one other, well, actually 2 other ones we're going to put in here. But let's put one more in here now. Time. Tab 2, and between those 2 key values, basically the sequence is going to take about 2 to 3 seconds for this items to start flying at the player. Now there's one other key value that I kind of like here. Let me see if I could find it. The shake time, how long objects shake before thrown. So in other words, when that Funk Phantom Object is triggered, the items are going to kind of quiver a little bit, and then they're going to fly at the player. And I kind of like that little shake, so we're going to put that in there as well. So let's type in here shake _time, and we'll hit tab, and then we'll say 1 second for the shaking. Okay, let's hit enter. Okay, done. So that's all set up. Now we have to trigger this Funk Phantom Objects, and again, we can do that a number of ways. It could be done through picking up a shard or a weapon or killing a monster or any number of ways. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to Old Faithful and hit our trigger once, and we're going to get some good use out of that trigger once. So let me just see if I got the trigger one texture, which I don't. So let's jump into our media folder here. Let's close this object and go to our old standby, which is common, and we're gonna find trigger. And this is just a texture, so we can see it on the map. Okay, where are we here? Trigger, there we are. Let's select that. Let's go up to the XYZ and let's draw out a trigger here. A nice big one so the player doesn't miss it. All the way to the floor. Let's make sure it's not touching the player. Okay, it's away. Now what we want to do is select it, right click on XYZ, and go down here to trigger once. So right now it's just a brush with a trigger texture. Okay, so where are we here? Trigger, trigger once. Where are we? There we go. Okay, and it's got the origin there. We can see where I'm circling my mouse. Done. Now what we want to do is when the player hits that trigger, we want it to make the func object do its thing. So let's grab the trigger once first, grab the phantom objects thing, control K so we get our path, and make sure that the path is there. We can see it in the render window, and the arrows are going from the trigger to the func object. Now we have to connect the func object to the various items. So let's click the func object, we'll click our wrench, again control K, and let's go around and do that to all the movables. So func object, our table, whoops, func object, and our table. Get it from the render map, there we go, control K, that's connected, we can see. And then let's finally do our mop bucket. So func object, mop bucket, control K, connected, done. Okay, so basically what's going to happen once we trigger it, it's going to tell the func object thing to start doing its thing, and it's going to get these things moving. So let's save, and let's BSP or compile. Let's jump into the map, map M1. Hit enter. If we did everything right, this thing should work. So let's have a look. All right, so there's our objects. We're gonna go through the trigger once. Oh, they're quivering and they're flying at us. There we go, done. And sometimes the damage, you know, if it hits the player, it works, but in this case it didn't. But trust me, it gives us 1 or 2 damage. Okay, so that'll do the objects flying at us. So let's get out of here and let's look at gussing this up a little bit with some lighting and sound effects. Alright, so we have our objects flying at our player, and what we want to do is embellish that a little bit, and we're going to do that by adding a couple of entities. One of them is going to be a sound effect, and the other one's going to be an earthquake effect. So let's just look at those real quick. Now I'm not going to discuss sound and speakers too much, but we're going to just introduce them here really quick. So to add sound, all we have to do is go to our XYZ window, right click, and we're going to look for an entity called speaker. Makes sense, right? Okay, so where are we here? Here's our speaker, and we're going to plop that into the map, and there it is in our XYZ window. Let's kind of bring it up to get it out of the way. Alright, so it's kind of sitting there and it's not doing anything. Now, just a quick thing about speakers, they're a lot like lights, and is that in that they toggle. So if we put a speaker and assign a sound to it, and at runtime it will just play. And then if we trigger it, it goes off and then on and off, so it toggles basically. Now we'll get into that in a moment, but I just want to show you how to preview some of the sounds. Now we can't just add a speaker, we have to assign a sound to it, and you can preview that a couple of different ways of different sounds in the game. So if we get out of here and we go back into those unpacked game files, and it's in pack 3, and we can see a sound folder, and the one that I'm going to use is in that subfolder called stingers, and you can just double click on these and you can kind of listen to them in a media player or something like that. But there's a way to preview those sounds actually in the editor, so I'm going to show you that real quick. Okay, so let's select the speaker, and we're going to go into our entity window, and in our key we're going to put in, let's see here, S_shader tab, and then I'm just going to write it out in long form. You can actually select it differently, but I'll show you how to do this real quick. I just happen to know what folder it's in. So it's in the sound folder, it's in that stingers subfolder /, and the actual file name is MC2 underscore, where are we here? Underscore flamesting.wav. So flamesting.wav. Okay, did I spell that right? Sting, yeah, that looks good. Okay, so there it is. We'll hit enter. Now we can actually preview that sound if I do this correctly. So let's grab the speaker. We're going to render in our window. Well, we're going to hit F9 first, and then we'll render it. Okay. And there it previews our sound. And that's going to be pretty good to accompany our stuff flying. So again, how you do that is you select the speaker, F9, F3, F4. Oh, no, didn't work that time. Well, it does usually work. Let's try that again. Get the speaker, F9. There we go. So you don't actually have to hit F3 and F4. You can just hit F9. And basically it's rendering the sound. So, okay, so that's another way you can preview the sound. Now in that speaker, we don't want that to play at runtime or when the game starts. So we want to hit a key val here of, let's see here, S underscore wait for trigger. Did I spell that correctly? Remember, it has to be exactly right. So S wait for trigger. Okay, that's correct. Tab. And we're going to hit 1 here. So we're basically telling it don't play until you're hit by a trigger of some sort. So let's hit enter. Okay, and it's done there. And again, up here, if you look, the different key values are stated here. So if you do want to look up here, that's great. I just happen to know these key values. So, okay, that's done. That's assigned, right? Wait for trigger. Now we have to trigger it. So we're going to get good use out of a trigger. So we're going to select Shift, left click the trigger, Shift, left click, hold down the Shift while we get the speaker, Control K. Okay, there we've connected the speaker. So basically this is telling it when we trigger, hit that trigger, along with the stuff flying, it's going to give us that scary sound. So let's just save that so we have it. Now one other effect I want to do is I want to add what's called a earthquake. I'll show you how to do that real quick. Basically it's a little entity that when it's triggered, it causes an earthquake basically. So the camera shakes and you get that sort of rumbling sound. And I think it's going to embellish this little sequence nicely. So let's right click on the map and we're going to go to Funk Earthquake. So let's have a look here. Funk, where are we? EFG, Funk. And we're going to look for earthquake. Okay, there it is there. So we'll click on that, put that in the map. I'm going to stick it near my speaker here just so it's kind of semi-organized. And like the speaker, if we don't put in a key val and tell it to wait for the trigger, it's going to start shaking right away. So we want to add that key val right here real quick. So let's go ahead and delete that. And we will put in triggered. I'm triggered. Okay, and 1. Okay, there we go. So triggered and 1. All right, and now we have to connect it. So we're going to hit our trigger once, Shift left click, keep the Shift key down, hit the earthquake, Shift left click, and then we're going to hit Control K. All right, and it's connected and our arrows are going in the right way if we look on our XYZ. So let's go ahead and save that. Now the only thing is, like, I'm not sure whether that earthquake is going to keep rumbling, so we might have to shut it off, and I'll show that in a minute. But let's try it the way it is right here. So let's compile that. Let's go into F2, title. Let's bring up our map. Okay, we haven't typed it yet. Map, M1, enter. And let's see if we get the stuff flying as well as the sound effect and a rumble effect. So here we go. Oh, there it goes. Whoa, stuff's flying, boom. Okay, and I think the earthquake is going to keep going until we shut it off. Yep. No, it looks like it goes off naturally. Okay, good enough. Good. Okay, so that's done. One thing we're going to look at finally is just to do a little lighting effect. So let's go ahead and set that up. All right, so just one thing I did want to mention about key vals, like you notice that I've been typing them in manually, and for certain entities there's a slightly easier way of doing it. So if we select our speaker and we just put our cursor here and just click in either the key or val line here, if you go key, in terms of sounds, we can actually just go down here in the entity window where my mouse is circling, click sound, and we can actually get there, load that sound this way too. So when you open it, it opens up like this. If you look up here, we just click on wave sounds and we look down here at stingers, we open that, and we can just double click and it'll put that key val in there for us. Since we have it there already, I'm not going to do it. But if you don't want to sit there typing all this kind of stuff out, this is an easy way to do it as well. So be aware of that. Okay, so let's get out of here. All right, so what we want to do is we want to add a little lighting effect. Now, what we want to happen is that when the player hits the trigger and all this stuff starts flying and all these other effects are going on, we want the white lights to turn off and we want a red light to come on. So first thing we're going to do is, since we have our white lights already, we're just going to add our red light. So let's right click on XYZ, let's find light. Okay, there it is there. Let's put a light in, and we can see once the light is selected, it's got that sort of purple box around it. And if we look at our different windows, that's the size of the light, and it's obviously not hitting the walls. and it's too big on the Z-axis. So I'm just going to adjust the size of that. So while we have the light selected in our XYZ window, well, you don't have to hit the XYZ window, but just hit letter J. That brings up our lighting control. And first thing we want to do is change the radius of the light just so it hits the walls all the way around. So we're just going to unclick this equilateral radius. And I happen to know through my testing that the size of this light should be 600 on the X. It should be 400 on the Y. And you can experiment with this. And now don't forget it's radius, it's not diameter. So, you know, if you need the light to be 1200 total diameter, then just put 600 radius. Just be aware of that. And in our X, we want to hit 200. And if we hit enter, we can see now in our XYZ window that light's going to hit everything. And we're just going to shift it down a little bit. See, we can see that's hitting everything. Okay, we could just shift it down a little bit. And in fact, if we render in our window, we can see, well, we can't see anything because it's a white light, right? Okay, so just give me a second here. Let's get out of there. Okay, so let's select that new light we put in and then hit J again, and we want to make it red. So we can just click here on color and we can just select a color. So let's go red. Let's go all the way there. Kind of scary. Okay, and we'll hit OK and we'll hit apply and OK. And now we can render it and we should see the red light. Okay, there it is there. Okay, now one other thing we want to do with the light, I mean, it's just going to sit there as a red light. I want to make it a little bit more scary. What we can do is we can select the light and we can go down here into, if I can remember how to do this, oh right, okay, J, into our lighting inspector. We can actually select a texture for it. So I kind of like, well, we can look at them real quick, but I kind of like this one that kind of is like a strobe light. Where are we here? Alarm strobe? Let me just see. Big round 1 strobe is what we want. All right, let's see. Big round 1 underscore strobe. All right, let me just see if I could find this. There it is. Okay, that's the one. All right, so let's hit apply. And okay. And that's just going to be basically when that red light comes on, it's going to sort of flicker. It's going to create a little bit more ambience, if you will. Now again, lights are like, they toggle. They're like speakers. So if we just do this at runtime, all these lights are going to be on. Now we want the white lights to be on, but not the red light. So what we're going to do with that red light is we're going to select it and go down into our key val here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put, let's see here, we'll have to look because I don't remember what it is. Let's see here, target levels, start off, there it is. Causes the light to be off when the level starts. That's what we want. Okay, so let's type in start underscore off, hit tab, and then we want to go 1. Okay, so there's that. And let's just make sure it's there. Okay, there it is, start off 1. Okay, good. So at runtime, that red's going to be off and the white's going to be on. Okay. Now, what we want to do is when that player hits that trigger, we want to turn off the white lights. Now, since they toggle and since the white lights are on, all we have to do is grab the trigger once, grab one of the lights, the white lights. There it is there. Control K. And is that done? Where's my path? Let's make sure there's a path there. There isn't. Okay, let's try that again. So trigger once, hit the light, Control K. There we go. Okay, now it's connected. Now let's do that again for the second white light. So we're just turning off the white lights when our throwing object sequence starts. Okay, so we got those selected, Control K. Okay, that's done. And then we also want to hit that red light because the red light is off right now. So trigger once, shift left click, shift left click the red light because we want to select more than one object at the same time. Control K, we hit that. Okay, good. Now, when the player hits that trigger, the white lights are going to go off and the red light goes on. Okay. Now, we only want that lighting effect to last as long as the object's flying. And if you remember in our Phantom objects, that sequence is going to last about 3 seconds. So 3 seconds after the sequence starts, we want that lighting to go back. Now, how we have to do that is with a trigger relay. And we talked about trigger relays in a past video, so I'm not going to get into too much, but just right click on XYZ. We're going to go down to trigger relay. If I can remember where it is. Okay, so trigger, I think it's trigger relay. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so trigger relay. We don't texture or anything. It just sort of sits there. And what we want to do for the trigger relay is we want to assign a key val here of delay tab 3. So basically what we're telling that trigger relay is once you're triggered, wait 3 seconds and then trigger. Okay, if that's confusing. And then what we want to trigger is okay, basically let's connect this first. Let's do it logically. So we're going to go from our trigger once to our trigger relay, and we're going to hit Control K. So those are connected. Okay, and we can see the path there in our XYZ window. Done. And then once the trigger relay is hit, 3 seconds later, we want it to hit those lights again. Again, they're going to toggle. So right now in that state, the white lights are off, the red lights on, and we want to go opposite states. So we're going to select that trigger relay, and we're going to hit our light back here, our first white light, Control K. There's our path. Do the same thing for the other white light, so trigger relay. Let's make sure it's selected. Shift, there we are. Let's hit our other light, which is this one. Okay, Control K to connect that. There we are. And let's hit our trigger relay again, and then hit our red light. There we go. Control K, connected. Okay, that's not confusing enough, all those paths, but you get the sense of it if you do it in order. Okay, so that should work now. I'm just going to test it and see if it works. So if everything goes right, in addition to this objects flying, the earthquake, the sound, the light should change to red and then come back again to white. So let's see if that worked. All right, so let's go into our map, title, map, M1, hit OK. Now I'm not sure if I did it right, but of course testing we'll see, and hopefully on video I'll get it right the first time. Okay, so let's hit that trigger. Oh, there goes the lights. There's the stuff flying, that sound, the earthquake. Nice. Now the lighting effect might have obscured that stuff flying a little bit, so if you don't like that part, just don't include it. But basically I kind of like that. We could watch it again. Alright, so let's just load that up again. Okay, and we'll hit the trigger. Stuff goes crazy. The stuff starts flying at us. We get a little bit of damage, 99 if you look to the bottom left corner. The wrenches stuff flying around. And that'll conclude that sequence. So again, if you don't like the lighting, just leave that step out, you know, if you really want the player to see the stuff flying at them. But that's not obligatory, but I kind of think using all those effects together looks rather nice. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, dislike, or drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Hit the alert button so you're notified of new content, or visit the channel, Tom's World, for more entertaining videos. Thank you for watching, and all the best.